Alright everyone, welcome back again. I was still rummaging through my backpack. My fingers, that were searching for the dog's treat, stumbled upon some soft crumpled object.
Ничего. Скоро проснутся настоящие звери.
The real beasts. Uh-oh.
Спроси-ка лучше у них, где они взяли свои человеческие лица.
The girl's shadow was dancing in the lamp's light. The dog yapped in agreement. I freaked out and dropped my findings in the snow without getting a proper chance to examine it. Cold wind instantly covered the hole it created with its snow. The dog rushed to dig it out, wanting to get its treat. And the fox just snorted. Now I was so embarrassed I wanted to sink through the snow. It was still dark outside of the electric circle. On the contrary, the darkness seemed even more thick. All neighboring houses were sleeping deeply in its inkiness. I did my best to continue the conversation with the weird girl I didn't know.
Так ты в школу идешь?
Ах, ну какой же дурачок! Так ничего и не понял.
Well, I was trying to be friendly, but she can't stop mocking me. Calling me a dummy and all. I should have just moved along without paying any attention to this weirdo and her stupid dog.
А ты чего обзываешься? Не хочешь отвечать, и пожалуйста. Никто не требует.
Still, something froze me in place, tugged me toward the dark figure. A mysterious appearance, her voice that was velvety and just languid enough. I was intrigued and excited. I watched her as people watch fires burn.
Ой, да не дуйся. Гляди-ка лучше. Ты нравишься Жульке.
Who is Zolka? The dog was digging through snow with sharp movements, snoring loudly. The fox turned around and looked at the windows of a nearby house. At its timbered front, through the white mist, the tip of her fake nose was shining under the lamp's light.
И не только ей.
Oh, there's way too many people watching me already. I'm not thrilled about that. I went red again, like boiled crayfish this time. Is she talking about herself or someone else? I hope that semi-dark would be able to hide my embarrassment from the girl. I cleared my throat before asking.
А кому еще я нравлюсь?
I waited, counting my heartbeat. The fox didn't reply. Her sly stare was scanning the frosty patterns of someone's windows. She was reading them like a glass book. I wonder what she can see in those water paintings. Winter paintings, my bad. The stray stopped rummaging through the snow. It ran to me, holding my object in her jaws. A mitten. Could it be the one I found in the forest? I think you only found one, right? What was it doing here? When I looked closer, I realized that it was just my mitten. Maybe Mom stuffed it in there when I was asleep. A certain missing boy immediately came to mind.
Эй, ты знаешь что-нибудь про Вову?
I imagined the scene, silhouettes, dancing in the clearing. The dance in the night when Volvo had disappeared. A boy who, when found, can provide a big reward and maybe save my family. I remember my birthday when our parents promised to take me and Olia to Disneyland in Paris. But instead of a long-anticipated gift, they gave me a simple brick game console, visibly embarrassed. I was crying my eyes out back then, demanding to take me to the promised amusement park. That was the first time when Mom and Dad had a big fight. My greediness shattered their relationship. If only I could fix everything, gather everybody I love and take them to Disneyland.
В ночь, когда пропал Вова, я, кажется, видел, как кто-то похожий на тебя плясал под моим окном.
It couldn't be true, but I felt like her mask became even more sly. The fox was sniffing me out.
А что? Ты тогда испугался?
I did not appreciate her coming that close.
За себя или кого-то еще?
Olia, as soon as I thought about my sister, my chest tightened, and cold sweat streamed down my spine.
Ну так слушай меня внимательно, мальчик по имени Антон. Это большой и страшный лес.
The fox girl stepped forward menacingly.
И я не единственный его обитатель. Другие звери уже знают о тебе.
Oh, that's nice. Can you tell them not to know about me?
Берегись нас. Этой ночью мы опять придем.
Well, so much for that idea. I shouldn't have talked to this evil in child form, I thought, panicking.
Пока ты со своей семьей будешь спать, подкрадемся близко-близко и станцуем.
Why don't you just continue dancing and be merry? Just nowhere near my place.
Макарену!
Чё?
Эй, Макарена! У тебя прямо челюсть отвисла, Антоша!
Yeah, that threw me off.
Видел он меня ночью у своего окна. Ага, как же! А ты случаем не местный дурачок, нет? Меня не отпускают гулять так поздно. Здесь, знаешь ли, дети пропадают.
I touched the plastic frame of my glasses, puzzled by her silly joke. She got me scared to death.
Ой, да не тереби ты окуляры свои.
Yeah, she got me scared too. I'm a little nervous around her.
Я раньше тоже близорукой была. Лучше послушай меня. Может быть, ума наберешься. Лисичку как обычно называют?
Плутовка?
My words seemed to hurt her.
Ох ты ж! Да как ты меня?
Ой, прости.
I'd be very nervous around that laugh too.
Да шучу я! Конечно, плутовкой. Если ты ловкий и смелый, не боишься с плутовкой водиться, я, так и быть, помогу разыскать этого Вову.
Oh, did I make my first friend?
Ты же неспроста его ищешь, да?
I shrugged in reply. Her insight was alarming.
Знаю, почему дети повадились соваться в наш лес. Порой там можно найти много всякого интересного. Я вот однажды нашла целый сугроб конфет и купалась в нем, да так что челюсть слиплась.
A pile of candy. I couldn't deduce whether she believed in what she was saying from the tone of her voice. I showed her another smile. A fake one this time.
Посмотрите-ка, какой недоверчивый. Ну-ну, а что ты на это скажешь?
She held out her hand in a furry mitten. Whoa, that's a ton of candy. There was an assortment of sweets in her palm. In the city where I used to live, sweets like these were sold at markets or in kiosks. I saw my favorite bubblegum in a vivid wrapper among the tasty treasure. A familiar name was on it, Turbo. A triangular fox face poked her nose toward me.
Угощайся. У меня их полные карманы.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, hold on. Save. Okay. I already know the saying, never take candy from strangers, but this is one of those things where I feel like I might be rude to a supernatural, entity that wouldn't bode well in my favor. But it's also smart to refuse candies anyway, so I don't know. She might technically, I wouldn't say poison me, but if I take the candy, it might, I don't know, influence me to go outside in the middle of the night to see them dance, and then I'll become lost. I think. I don't, Oh, look at that. When you refuse, she's not as happy. When you go to take, she's smiling. Okay, you know what? I'll humor her. I'll take a shot. I'll chance it. I'm terrified. Chance it. I accepted the treat and catching a whiff of the girl's smell, fur, fireworks, and citrus, the smell of holidays. My fingers tingled while I was carefully unwrapping the gum. Peachy aroma entered my nostrils, and something else. Something unfamiliar, but pleasant. The fruity cube ended up in my mouth. I started moving my molars, chewing the gum. It tasted like your usual Turkish gum, only my tongue went a bit numb. I couldn't believe my luck after opening the insert. Oh, look at that. I looked at the Mercedes-Benz, an extremely rare and hence desirable collector's item for any boy from my previous neighborhood. My heart skipped a beat. I was barely able to tear my eyes off the insert, still stunned.
Это же... Это...
Теперь понял, что можно найти в лесу? Только на твоем месте я бы туда в одиночку не ходила. Тебе вон от жвачки в забу дыхание сперло. А представляешь, что с тобой будет, если найдешь чемодан таких фантиков? Голову напрочь снесет, и пиши пропало.
Unusual treats, just like everything else about her. I carefully hid the insert in my bag as if I was putting a rare butterfly in a can. The fox giggled. This is not how things are supposed to go on a Monday morning. Who are you? You accepted the fox's treat. She's cunning. I refrained from asking the question. She wouldn't answer anyway. Or she'll just lie. I really wanted to see what was behind her mask. I was becoming more and more sure that underneath it wasn't just a simple young girl.
Может, Вова тоже нашел сугроб сладостей и теперь кувыркается в нем? Слушай, вдруг он решил остаться в лесу? Тогда, наверное, ему очень холодно в одной варежке.
The wind caught her words like smoke from a fire and carried them deep into the darkness, into the creepy thicket. The trees behind me creaked with their bony branches.
Или с ним что-то случилось в пути. Что-то страшное.
The forest reacted to her words, became alive. It sniffed me out, perking up its ears just like curious beasts. The fox girl pierced me with her eyes again.
Дикие звери?
Это, по-твоему, страшно?
Ну, не знаю.
Не знает. Уж не с двоечником ли я подружилась?
I didn't like being called a dunce, yet being friends with her sounded nice.
Я хорошист.
Бел да пушист. Пойдешь со мной, хорошист Антон?
Oh, please don't give me a choice to do this.
Найдем твоего Вову и сам его спросишь, что он нашел в этой пуще. Ведь пока мы вместе, никто тебя в лесу не тронет.
Yeah, I'm very wary of that.
Вот увидишь.
Worms of worry writhed in my belly. Better run, whispered my mind.
Я тебе не верю.
There you go, smart kid.
Ты думаешь, я врунья?
Candy is one thing. Going with you to the forest alone is another.
Да и пожалуйста, мне никогда никто не верит.
The girl sounded hurt, although I didn't know if she was genuine about it. She turned around as if she had immediately lost all interest in me. The gum felt bitter now. I remember my dad's favorite saying, "Where are your manners, son?" Indeed, this fox was kind to
Не
me.
обижайся, пожалуйста. Лисы бывают и добрыми. Ну, как в сказках. Мне бы только понять, что ты за лиса.
That's true.
Тогда пойдем со мной в лес, и ты все обо мне узнаешь.
Oh, you have got to be kidding me.
Но не сейчас, а когда рассветет. А то тебя, бедного, всего аж потряхивает. Того и гляди, кондрашка хватит. Айда, провожу тебя до школы.
After hearing this, the dog barked in agreement and stopped messing with the mitten. I leaned in, trying to grab the piece of handwear that almost ran away from me.
Ну, если тебе по пути...
We went toward the school and the lost dawn. Here and there, the lights came on in the windows of houses we passed, as if their inhabitants were sending us warning signs. Silhouettes lurked behind curtains. Dogs let out occasional barks. Spirals of gray smoke rose from chimneys. TVs bustled and dishes clanged in kitchens. You know, I'm noticing, since I just recently played Muv-Love, that this is another VN where it's... The developers have taken the time to actually make this visual novel more interactive in the sense of like the environments are moving, the characters are moving along with it to imitate a sense of movement, which is rare in most VNs anyway. And I like that about these types of games, when they put in like just a little bit. It's not a lot, but it's something. Spirals of gray smoke rose from chimneys, TVs bustled and dishes clanged in kitchens. We watched the village slowly rise from its slumber, while carefully treading the snowy wheel trails. I walked in the left one, and she took the right. The dog was following right behind us. I expected the fox to bring up something weird again, but she stayed silent, all the way to the school, as if playing with me, some game only she was privy to. I don't like that fox grinning like that either. She would only giggle from time to time when the dog sneezed from the snowflakes that fell on its nose. I was the first to break the silence.
Так как тебя зовут?
А, ну конечно. Имена, имена, имена. Людям непременно надо вешать ярлыки на все подряд. Ну и как бы ты назвал такую лису, как я?
Даже не знаю. Но я читал про лису по имени Алиса.
А что? Я не против. Пусть будет Алиса.
I couldn't understand if she was joking or not. I turned around, as if looking for an answer from the dog, from the dark sky devoid of dawn. My silent questions were left unanswered. The school's outline was already in our sight, a giant brick box stuck in the endless night. Lights in its windows didn't bode well for me. The warden trees were guarding the schoolyard. Screams, childish laughter, and someone's whistling tore up the silence. I went here with Mom when she just moved, and the place looked cozy at that time. Empty corridors that smelled of polished, puffy snow outside. The second time I came alone to get the books and just kept on imagining my peers rolling down the railings, grade schoolers running to the library, and teachers marching down the corridors with the air of self-importance around them. High schoolers were smoking at the entrance, in track pants and wool caps perched on their foreheads. Their appearance destroyed the last of hopes for a cozy school. Their stingy eyes and teeth, yellow from nicotine, their smirks, all of it had the same gloomy effect as the cloudy winter morning. Absorbed by my thoughts, I completely forgot about my companion.
После уроков жду тебя на заднем дворе. Возле повешенного.
Возле кого?
She just ignored my question.
Не опаздывай.
Ah, great. I hesitated. Blowing hot and cold again, Mom always said that when I would have trouble choosing between two options. Thinking about my mom helped me reply.
Я после школы сразу домой.
Эх, Антоша, Антоша, это я тебя так просто отпустила. Другие же незаметно подкрадутся со своими улыбочками и вцепятся. Клещами не оторвешь.
I know you're trying to scare me too.
Попомни мои слова.
The fox opened her mouth in a wide yawn. What kind of trick is this? Someone running in the distance called out my name. I instinctively turned around. A huge snowball whizzed past my shoulder and hit the dog. It whimpered and ran toward the spring. Yo, those kids are a bunch of jackasses for doing that to the poor dog. The darkness devoured it. The fox girl was also nowhere to be seen. She dissolved into the frosty air. Or was she hiding in my shadow? And swallowed the gum. Unlucky. After taking a deep breath, I went toward the school, toward the cutlets and dough, toward the light raining down into the snow. Alright, well, hold on a second. Okay, before I enter, there's several things to check out. What's this? Whose nest is this, I wonder? A thieving magpie? Then it probably has all sorts of shiny things in it. Pieces of colorful glass, bottle caps, polished coins, or child braces. Hold on, you were highlighted before, yeah. A tall man was standing near the gate, puffing out clouds of smoke into the wind. He didn't look like a teacher. Was he a PE guy, maybe? I carefully studied his face that looked like it was cut from a piece of granite, and his hair lip that was holding down a cigarette. He was playing around with car keys and staring back at us. The light from the cigarette was reflected in his eyes that were sitting deep in his eye sockets. I froze in place. The hulking man lazily tore off his eyes from us and walked toward the road. And now he's gone. Okay. And then we check out the car. Ooh, what the hell? There was a fresh-looking Volga parked nearby, with one of its front wheels perched up on the icy curb. Black-like suit as if it was straight out of a horror story Dad loved to tell me when he hid in the attic during the thunderstorm. I remembered him always wearing a sad smile while mentioning the black car that snatched children. He would say, "It looks like a funeral car on the inside, white curtains and all. And it has DSC in its license plate, Do you know what that means? Death to Soviet children. Funny, I was born in the USSR too. Alright. Anything else to check out? Or we just enter from here on in? Okay. I could hear the muffled voices behind the doors. Saw blinking lamps. Darkness creeped along the windows, and it felt like the school was drifting in open space, like a lonely lost spaceship. After going up to the second floor, I noticed a crowd around this notice board. Everyone was taking part in a lively discussion. Uh-oh. There's a child missing. No, it's the same one, Vova. I moved closer and took a look at something everyone was interested in through a wall of backpacks. There was a piece of paper with something printed on it glued to the left of the notice board. I guess we're reading this. Attention, child missing. Vova Matyukin, 10 years old. Oh man, he's 10? Vova Matyukin, 10 years old, grade 4. He left his home on January the 5th around 4 o'clock and never returned. Was last seen at the bridge over the Smorodina River. He was wearing an orange coat with a hood, a black wool cap and a scarf and mittens with green stripes. Might have had a plastic toy gun on him. Features was 142 centimeters tall, skinny brown hair, and green eyes. Please call these numbers if you have any information on Vova's whereabouts. Okay, child missing. That was his name. 4th grader. On that grainy print, Vova looked dead, with a black mouth and dark empty eye sockets. Could it be that the darkness dwelling deep in the forest invaded his pores and mutilated his face? A plastic toy gun couldn't protect him from the whispering branches and the howling wind. Empty eyes of the lost boy pierced through my soul, as if pleading. Unable to meet his stare, I turned around and rushed to the window. Took a seat on the windowsill. The corridor was slowly filling up with children, in groups of few. Nobody paid me any mind. In the darkness of school toilets, child voices were hammering a nursery rhyme. I turned my head toward them, trying to get a better look at their features, but then my attention was stolen by a loud clicking sound. A female teacher marched down the corridor with her chin raised up high. Her heels were hitting the floor like miniature hooves. A girl was trailing her every step. She was also looking pompous, stopping along the way and whispering some secret in her friend's ear. She was probably a class rep since she was carrying an attendance register book.
Екатерина, возьми, пожалуйста.
Ekaterina, that's an interesting name. A teacher opened the classroom door and the crowd of children swarmed in, screaming and pushing. Out of all of them, a tall red-headed fat boy caught my attention, his face full of blisters. He looked like the inside of a pomegranate. A bad feeling risen up in the hair of the back of my head. I've seen boys like him before, unsettled eyes, cackling laughter. The girl, who was smaller, copy of the teacher, warned the boy with a wave of her hand and entered the room through the clearing in the crowd. Some other guy stood in the way of the crowd and the redhead immediately shoved them. The boy flew head first, flailing his hands, trying to keep his balance. The fatso burst out laughing and a couple of kids joined this nasty cackling. Their laughter sounded like someone was snipping with huge garden scissors. Nope, we got a bully. Bullies, actually. The classroom sucked all of the kids in. The corridor stood empty. I wanted to grow roots and stay on the windowsill. Ah, is that our little friend? Just a handful of lampposts outside were battling the darkness, riding the fluorescent fish in the black ocean. Maybe I can still run away? Go outside, dissolve in the dark? I imagined myself running through snow, how it squeaks under my boots and how I'm becoming lighter and lighter with every step. The ringer's trill blew the illusion away. I tore myself from the window with great effort. Then took a couple of deep breaths, trying to at least calm down my mad pulse, and entered the classroom. Well, here we go. School time. The prim teacher looked me over at the frame of her glasses, clearly annoyed.
Я новенький. Мне вот сказали к вам подойти.
The snowy forest shell was winding in front of my eyes. The pines rustled, but it didn't sound predatory anymore. She buried herself in the register and flicked through the pages.
А фамилия-то как?
Петров.
Громче говори.
Anton Petrov.
Чего мямлишь?
Петров.
Нет такого.
She measured me with a long and heavy stare, as if trying to see if I was lying. I wanted to sink to the floor. Hazy faces observed all of that from the left. The classroom breathed and stirred in unison, like a living organism, like a dangerous beast.
Ты не ошибся? Нет такого в списке.
My knees chose the worst time to start shaking, and I felt dizzy. I clutched my fists so hard my knuckles became white.
Мне сказали, 204 кабинет, Лилия Павловна, 6 В.
Apparently, everyone in the classroom took my words for some sort of joke because they were all laughing.
Что за бардак?
The classroom fell silent. The kids hid their smirks for a better occasion.
Понаберут студентов. Только знают, что губяки свои малевать. А я разгребай, значит. А бумаги-то кто заполнять будет? Не первый раз ведь уже. Подожди здесь. Сейчас. Сейчас я им устрою.
The teacher flew past me, mumbling something to herself in righteous anger, and I was left standing at the center of the classroom. Well, that's awkward, right? Like a convict in front of a firing squad. I lowered my gaze, feeling the mocking stares from all around the classroom directed at me. They prickled my skin, danced on it like laser lights. Once again, I imagined running far away from this place, fighting the clawing wind, soaring high above the pines in one long jump. This was such an interesting transition. I actually like this. I'd never seen this before. I like when developers take artistic style choices when it comes to their VNs, because it shows they really care about the work they're putting in, as well as what they're trying to do with the story. With the wind in my back as my only companion, the eyes of my future classmates were asking, this new boy, is he one of us or an outsider? Somebody whispered something and stifled laughter rolled through the classroom.
Доску вытри!
It was easy to guess who was the main prankster here.
Эй, очкарик! Ты чё, не только слепой, но еще и глухой? Доску вытри, говорю!
My knees weren't the only shaking part of my body anymore. I was trembling from head to toe and I prayed for the teacher to come back sooner. My prayers were answered by the powers that be.
Ну что мне с тобой делать-то? Куда сажать, а? Давай-ка сядь, наверное, с Семеном. Он все равно один.
Еще чего?
The fatso put his backpack on the seat beside him in defiance, scratched his belly and smirked.
Ты опять за старое? Снова бабушку в школу вызывать?
The classroom went silent.
А чё она мне сделает?
Probably smack you upside the head to give you some damn discipline.
Не она, так я тебе сделаю. Рюкзак убрал быстро.
Semyon didn't move a muscle. He started studying the portraits of the writers on the wall, looking bored. I needed to do something, to resolve this somehow, to save myself. I cleared my throat and continued in a stifled voice that sounded nothing like me.
Я могу за последнюю парту сесть. Там, кажется, свободно.
The teacher snorted loudly. She looked at me, then at Semyon, then back at me.
Ладно, садись пока туда. А с тобой, Бабурин, мы еще поговорим. Чтобы подошел после уроков. Будешь по классу дежурить, ясно?
Semyon forced out a twisted smile. Juicy pimples were growing on the top of his nose, ripe for the taking. I walked carefully, afraid to stumble and fall, causing another outburst of laughter from everyone. I took my seat at the back at the last table, where I was met with a pile of old posters. The outcasts took their seats and the class was ready to start.
Вот и хорошо. Начнем урок. Тема: традиции русской и мировой литературы в рассказе Зощенко «Не надо врать».
The fatso turned back to me, his stare informed me of the coming days, weeks, and months of bullying. I've got my eyes on you, said his watery look. Oh, I would love to take him to the forest. After just a couple of periods, I'd already noticed a huge yellow spit stain in my notebook. Then, at the cafeteria, this Semyon accidentally spilled a glass of compote on me. Can I actually... Nope, I can't. I thought I could click it and get info. And then he flailed his hands around after exiting the toilet so some of the liquid from his hands would get on me. God. Just before the final period for today, Semyon pushed me into a buzzing crowd of girls from our class. They made way, cursing, but I couldn't hold my balance and ended up ramming my face into the girl I took for the class rep before right in her chest.
Ой!
I immediately stepped back, dying from
Прости,
embarrassment.
ты в порядке?